So Pirates, we're getting another movie this year. Yeah, I don't know whether or not people are truly excited for the new movie, but for me, I'm pumped. For the longest time as I can remember, Pirates of the Caribbean has always been kind of part of my childhood, as it was released around the time when I was 6 years old, and it since then has become sort of a tradition of mine to watch the Pirates films whenever a new Pirates film comes out. It's like with Star Wars fans and Star Wars movies, or Harry Potter fans with the Harry Potter films. For me, Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my all-time favorite franchises. And while I can say that the franchise has kind of dipped in quality recently, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Pirates of the Caribbean, Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, with a new plot and a new villain. But today is going to be the start of a long 4-episode series that I'm going to call the Pirates of the Caribbean Month. Each week in the month of April, I'm going to be reviewing each and every Pirates film out there. And I'm going to be talking about the individual aspects that I like about them, some aspects that I didn't like about them. It's just going to be just a standard review with a little bit more context to what I felt and what the general audience felt. So, without further ado, let's grab our pirate glasses and begin with Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Now, for the longest time back in the early 2000s, people were not really concerned with doing pirate-related films. In fact, after the really, really bombastic Cutthroat Island that failed at the box office and failed to land with audiences and critics, people were not very eager to get on board with another pirate-related franchise. And that's why you don't see a lot of pirate stuff today, is because of that one movie, Cutthroat Island. Enter Gore Verbinski and the Pirates of the Caribbean film of the early 2000s. Now, Disney at this time had been trying to find its own way in trying to get a new franchise started. They looked at the Disney parks and said, hey, you know what would be awesome? Let's make a ride into a movie. No one's ever done something like that. And Pirates of the Caribbean was surely a gamble, because not only was the failed Cutthroat Island a big factor in the movie landscape at the time, but also because Pirates of the Caribbean was a new franchise. Like, anytime you try to make a new franchise, it's always something that's going to be troubling to a lot of people. It's something that is new, that you got to get your audience to be comfortable with if you're going to want to make them buy more and more into the product. And Pirates of the Caribbean was certainly a gamble, as they also got on board Johnny Depp. Now, at this time, before Johnny Depp became this sort of wacky character that we know him as today, he had been starring in art house films and independent projects, his first film being A Nightmare on Elm Street, and also he started to do stuff with Tim Burton before this time, doing films like Ed Wood. And this was certainly another gamble, because Johnny Depp, once again, never helmed a franchise before. Had never been part of a franchise. He'd always been part of the art house independent scene, and Disney just threw a lot of money out there. Threw a lot of it threw everything out there. Something new, something fresh. They really wanted to have this movie be good. And how does it hold up? It's fucking amazing. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's really good. And this is probably one of my favorite Pirates of the Caribbean films of the entire franchise. And why is that? Well, first we gotta start off with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp really exudes, at the time, really exuded a new personality that the audience at the time never seen before. They've never seen this sort of cookie pirate before. They've always seen pirates as these cutthroat people, as these people that are, very, very savage type people. But to see a pirate who is a bumbling buffoon and a drunk is something that's a bit new to audiences, as a lot of pirates in the mainstream have been seen as just like Blackbeard or Conan and Rose, a lot of the other different pirates that of the olden age. Another thing that we should also keep in mind here is that Pirates of the Caribbean is also the first time that people had responded well to pirates films, because when you look at the history of pirate related films, the only one that comes close to getting a almost same level of respect is Goonies. And that wasn't even a pirate related film. It just happened to have some pirate elements in it. And when it comes to Pirates of the Caribbean, it's definitely one of those films that takes that risk and goes for full blast. One thing that I truly admire about this film, as well as all the other films, is that they took the sort of style of, pirate myths, pirate legends, and started making them part of this world, making the pirate experience more fantastical rather than realistic. And that's something that is truly something to admire here. It's really awesome to see, undead pirates glowing through the moonlight. The visual effects of this movie especially hold up just about as much as, say, some of the practical effects in Star Wars. It's really telling how much time and energy they put into creating the littlest of things on these undead pirates. It is so amazing to look at. The costume designs in this film are really telling as well. It's pretty much the standard sort of pirate garb, late 18th century sort of garb, and sort of, it gets all that feel. But the biggest aspect about this movie is the pirate ships, is the ships themselves. They made many different ships. They even used some ships that are still sailing today, which is something that's awesome. There's this one called the Lady Washington, I think that's what the name is called, that does a tour around the Pacific Northwest, and it's such an awesome ship. And that ship is fairly famous around the Pacific Northwest, as it was a ship that was used in the movie. It was just great. Now, aside from that, how does the story fare up? Well, the story follows Elizabeth Swann, a character in the island of Port Royal who, as a kid, sailed the ocean blue with her dad and found a lost boy, or Will Turner, played by Orlando Bloom, who during this time found a gold doubloon with a skull on it. Little does she know is that this coin has some bigger influences towards a group of pirates that later that night, in the present day of this movie, come and raid the village to try to find this coin. And the coin's significance here is something that's kind of a MacGuffin of this entire shindig. And what I really like about it is this whole notion of a chase and a pursuit towards a treasure, towards a common goal, to try to save Elizabeth Swann, to also uncover the secrets of why, these pirates are cursed. And I feel like that sort of aspect had been lost in future sequels. This whole mystery of how these pirates came to be this way. See, this movie, this entire franchise has had an element of mystery about it, because the stuff that's fantastical also comes with a bit of mystery. Like, why does this happen? How does this happen? What kind of stuff did they do to get to where they are? And that's what really is exuded about this film. They tell you, the Aztec gold is cursed. Pirates who steal from the treasure are cursed for life, unless they give a blood offering and return the coin to the Aztec gold, box. And it's so, that kind of stuff is so interesting to me. This whole aspect of expanding the lore, and I really do enjoy this kind of stuff. But aside from that, does this film hold up to any scrutiny? Well, there is some problems I have with the film. Just one tiny little nitpick. some of the side characters are a little bit annoying, and they kept getting annoying as the series went on. Like Pintle and this other guy, I can't remember. They're kind of the Laurel and Hardy, or not the Laurel and Hardy, the Abbott and Costello of this universe, and those characters just don't work for me. I know what they were trying to do with those characters, but they're not exactly in the best sort of light as I would have seen them as. I just don't know. But as a whole, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is fun, it's engaging, the characters are likable, very entertaining. I love the mythology, I love the lore. I really love this movie, and for that, I'm giving this film, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, a 10 out of 10. It is a near perfect movie for me, and I truly am very grateful that this movie came about. As for the sequels, though, we'll get to those later, but this movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. So, if you are interested in watching the rest of the series, you can click like and subscribe, favorite me on VidMe, leave a tip if you want, comment down below, what is your favorite Pirates movie, who is your favorite pirate from this movie series, or even from real life. So, with that all being said, it's a pirate's life for me, and I'll see you behind the camera. Peace.